So, the typical dismissive avoidant does not realize they've lost you when you walk away. They recognize it when they feel like you no longer need them. And it actually shatters their internal narrative. And so, if you've been wondering for some time what happens when the dismissive avoidant realize they lost you, we are going to unpack that here today. And you might actually be surprised because sometimes you think you're just being erased. Whereas a lot of the times when they realize this, instead, it more seems to the dismissive avoidant themselves like you're the one that got away. So you might be remembered more than you are actually being erased. And in this video, you are going to learn 5 key things that happen the moment that dismissive avoidant truly realizes they lost you and won't probably ever express to you, even though they're feeling and experiencing these things. We'll also talk about how to really regain healthy boundaries in your life and how to move forward to really boost your own self-worth throughout this process. So let's talk about the 5 key things that actually happen when a dismissive avoidant realizes they lost you. Here's the first thing. They usually go into some sort of degree of denial first. Okay. So a lot of dismissive avoidants sort of have this idea like, oh, when I'm ready, maybe I can kind of reach out to this person, or if I really wanted to, maybe they would come back or try to work things out. And they're sort of in denial first, where they'll end up being like, oh, yeah, this person's not really gone. But then if you are in a position where you do something like hold no contact, don't reach back out, don't try to re-engage them too early, these types of things, they start to actually, point number 2, have the experience set in of the recognition like, oh, maybe you're not always just going to be there. And so I like to call this the kind of recognition phase. It's like it starts to actually sink in. And then this really kicks off this third stage in their experience, which becomes they start actually feeling some degree of regret. Now, the level of regret that they experience will basically be based off of 2 things. Okay. Number 1, how in deep you are to no contact. Okay. So if you are like kind of reaching out to them, kind of talking to them sometimes, or you're spottily communicating with them, you're asking your mutual friends about them, and that's getting back to them, you're liking their posts on social media, that's not no contact, right? And so they won't actually fully have this like sinking in realization. And so they're not going to have this whole like regret stage come up too strongly. But second to that, it's also largely going to be based on like what state the relationship was in. And a lot of dismissive avoidants won't really self reflect on their patterns of behavior in a relationship and their side of things until quite some time after they leave. And usually, this is because they often are very triggered in the relationship dynamic because of a lot of their own attachment wounds that they're not consciously aware of. And so they often feel trapped or they feel criticized and shamed. And there's a lot of like difficult things because of honestly their own trauma, their own pain, their own stuff that they grew up in. A lot of those things are being brought to the surface while in a relationship. So more than anything, they feel like they're constantly defending themselves while in a relationship, defending against being trapped, defending against losing their freedom, defending against being criticized and feeling shame. And so when they leave the relationship dynamic, that's usually when they're like, oh, my defenses are lowered. I can actually look back and reflect. And that's usually the space in which number 4, they'll start to kind of reflect on all of the things that you did and how you showed up and the good things and the healthy ways and the kind things that you did and the ways you tried to support them. And finally, those things will start to set in. Okay. And that's kind of their setting in stage where they start to see the relationship more clearly. They take down their defenses. And this can be a little bit troublesome for them, to be completely honest. It's actually a really hard phase for them. And a lot of dismissive avoidance, they don't even realize how they're showing up while in a relationship dynamic until quite some time afterwards. And they don't realize like all the ways that somebody was trying to show up in their best interest and be there for them. And so sometimes it can be this kind of tough phase for them to really process and start seeing some of these things and kind of lead to this delayed grieving period that starts out a little bit later, but can often last a little bit longer for them. Now, I want to talk about the last piece here, which is signs that you might be the one that got away, right? There can be these dynamics that, it's like, okay, wait, what are the signs that you were actually the person who got away from the dismissive avoidant? Because you know how there's this old idea of like the phantom max or the one that got away. That's a pretty prevalent theme here for dismissive avoidance. They often have a phantom ex or phantom exes. They often look back and think, oh, that's the one that got away. I've heard that comment so many times from dismissive avoidance. So I will dive into that in just 1 second. But before I do, I want to let you know as well, just for a limited time, not for the full month, it's just up if you're seeing this video. We are offering a free course at PDS. It is, so if you sign up for the 7-day free all access pass, you cancel before the 7th day, you'll never be charged anything. But if you sign up, which gives you access to all of our courses, you can actually download and keep for life for free. It's like a $250 value, our relationship needs course. It will help you learn exactly your relationship needs, help you understand needs of other people in relationships, which literally have such an impact on how we give and receive love. They're more impactful than love languages because they're more specific and they land more deeply. And so if you want to learn how to really deeply connect with somebody of a different attachment style than yourself, and also learn what you actually need to feel loved, connected, cared for, and connected to, so that you can communicate it and actually feel more fulfilled in your relationships, you don't want to miss that course. I will put the link down below. You can have it absolutely for free. You get to keep it for life, and it will really help you completely transform the way you navigate relationships and the way you connect to others. So I'll put that link there. Now, what are the signs that you might be the one that got away? Well, here are a few. Number one, if you ever talk to a dismissive avoidant ex again and they actually they start bringing up all of these different things that you do or you used to do in the past. So if they say, yeah, you always did this nice thing or that nice thing, huge sign. I would see dismissive avoidants really go through that stage when they miss somebody of thinking of those things, right? They really do. I might even make a whole video just about this as a whole. But number one, they'd say, oh yeah, I remember you always used to, drop me off ABC, or I remember you always used to, bring me coffee in the mornings or breakfast in bed when I wasn't feeling good. Like when they have those like really specific memories, that is a huge sign. Number two, if they reminisce about past memories as a whole. Okay. So not just things you did and that were your character and how they felt supported, but like, oh, remember that one fun time we did this? If they ever send you a text or something like that, a picture or an old memory of something, this is not like your typical dismissive avoidant. So if you're seeing these things, these are huge signs. Number three, dismissive avoidants like to tell their friends that somebody was the one that got away. They won't necessarily say it in such a direct way, but they'll often say, yeah, that was a good one, or they were a keeper, or, these kinds of things. And that might get back to you from mutual friends. Okay. That would be a big thing. And sign number four, if you are somebody who, like on their social media, all this time later, they still like your photos, things like that. And it's like 2 years later, and there's a pretty repeated, doesn't mean they like one photo ever. Okay. But if there's like a lot of repetition of them, like checking what's going on with you on social media or things like that, like, and it's like they're obviously in there once a week and it's been a year, 2 years after your breakup, that is like almost a dead giveaway. So those can be some really important signs. And again, that's usually because they won't necessarily realize they lost you right at the beginning. There's more to that story. It takes a little bit of time. And then they go through those 5 major stages that we talked about where they sort of process, have everything set in, and then eventually they reach that stage of kind of closure and trying to move on. But just because they moved on doesn't mean they didn't move on a daily basis, think about you a little bit less, but feel like parked in their mind, you might still be the one that got away. So that's it for today. Let me know your questions in the comments down below. If you want to see more content like this, if you want more support for things like this, please tell me. That is it. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you don't want to miss any of our daily videos. I also do, gifts that we share in terms of different courses on here sometimes. So make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of those. And thank you so much for stopping in and for watching. And I'll see you in tomorrow's video.